Hello my loves, Tony here from TL Yarn Crafts and welcome to another fun and free crochet tutorial. Today we're giving one of my most loved projects a much needed glow up. The Sunrise Coaster is getting a big sister, the Sunrise Placemat. Y'all went wild for this coaster, and so I thought, why not make a good thing even better? Now you can complete your whole tablescape with this matching set that's cute, functional, and oh so perfect for the next time you have to host brunch. In this tutorial, I'll guide you through crocheting in the round, building a flat circle, and finishing it all off with the sweetest scalloped border. And even if you're brand new to crochet, don't stress, babe. This project is 100% beginner friendly. To follow along, grab the free pattern from my blog or the printable PDF version from my shop. Links to both of those resources are down in the description. This project is part of Crochet Academy, which is my free Learn to Crochet program that has graduated over 40,000 makers. We're celebrating 5 amazing years of the program, and you can find all of the past lessons as well as some limited edition merch over in my shop. Links to those also down in the description. Before we dive in, pretty please do me a little favor, hit that like button and then mosey on over to the subscribe. I am dangerously close to 1 million subs and I can't get there without you. Reaching that milestone means I'll be able to share the joy of crochet with even more people, and I would love for you to be part of that journey. Please join the TLYC family and let's keep stitching together. Now with all that business out of the way, let's talk materials. For our supplies, we're gonna keep things nice and simple, starting with one of my favorite yarns ever. This is Lion Brand 24/7 cotton. I remember when they first came out with this yarn, I was like, oh, this is gonna be my boo for a long time. So this is a worsted weight mercerized cotton. It's also chainette spun, meaning that instead of having a normal twist like most yarns do, it's almost like it's braided together. So there's no chance of this yarn splitting. The mercerization puts a nice coating on the top, making it super smooth to use. One of my absolute favorites, especially for beginners. And it also makes a beautiful placemat and coaster set that will look lovely, have this really nice sheen to them, and they're going to stand the test of time. Now, one skein of this 24/7 cotton is going to make 1 coaster and 1 placemat, so you should have plenty. Now, the original set that I made had 6 different colors, and as you can see, 24/7 cotton comes in some really beautiful shades. So you can make some gorgeous color combos and do your entire table if you want to. Now, in addition to the yarn, we're also going to need a 4.5mm crochet hook. This one is from the Dots set from We Crochet. I absolutely love these hooks, especially for beginners, and at just 30 bucks for 9 different sizes, they're really great value. So if you need a set of good hooks, I absolutely recommend these. You're going to need a pair of scissors, also a tapestry needle, and in the pattern it says that you're going to need a garment steamer, which we will talk about at the end. All right, that's it for our materials. Let's jump right into making our set. One thing you want to keep in mind with your coaster and placemat set is that the first 4 rounds of this pattern are exactly the same. So rounds 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the placemat are the same as rounds 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the coaster. So we're going to start with our coaster, and then we're going to pick up where we left off to finish our placemat. So I've got my 24/7 cotton here, and I also have my 4.5mm hook. We're going to begin with what's called a magic ring. This is a really nice, clean way to start circles and things worked in the round here in crochet. We're going to practice a magic ring together, but I'm also going to show you an alternative in case that magic ring is a little too fiddly for you. And here we go. So for my magic ring, I like to hold the tail of my yarn here and then just lay that over the palm of my hand, making sure it kind of comes out the other end so we have a long enough tail to weave in later. I'm then going to grip that yarn with these 3 fingers, and now my pointer has that yarn hanging over. It's already wrapped once. I'm going to wrap a second time and hold on to that strand. I'm going to take that first wrap, bring it over the second, bring it over the first and over the tip of my finger. Just let it fall like that. And now I can grab the 2 ends here and pull, and I have an adjustable ring. So if I grab the tail and pull it, you can see that my ring will close. We're going to place our stitches into that ring, and it's going to allow us to close up our project so we get a nice closed hole in the middle like this. First things first, we're going to bring that loop down so the knot is at the top and the tail is coming out of the right hand side, or whichever side you're holding your hook on. Now I'm going to insert my hook, hold on to that knot, and with my working yarn, yarn over and bring it through the loop. Okay, so pulling up that loop does not count as my first chain. I'm now going to chain 2, 1, and 2, and that chain 2 at the beginning of this round counts as my first double crochet here and throughout the entire pattern. Now from here, I need to put 11 more double crochet into this ring. So I'm just working around this thread right here. So yarn over my hook to start a double crochet. I'm going to dip down into that ring, yarn over and pull up a loop, 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2 again. So there's the first of my 11. Here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So let's give this a count. Including the chain 2 at the beginning, I should have 12 total double crochets. Now I like to count using the V's here at the top of my stitches, but you can also count the posts of your stitches, whichever you prefer. So looking at these V's, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 for this double crochet, and then my starting chain 2 is right here, so that is 12. At this point, I can grab the tail out the middle of my work here, pull, 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 and you'll see that it closes right up. And now I can reinsert my hook, and I'm going to slip stitch in the double crochet after the chain 2. So remember, our chain 2 is right here. Here's the first chain and the second. We're going to slip stitch in the double crochet after. So this is the double crochet after. If we trace it up, we have the 2 loops at the top. So now we can insert under those 2 loops, yarn over and pull through that stitch and through the loop that's on our hook, which creates our round 1. Now, if that magic ring was giving you a little bit of problems, don't you worry. I've got an alternative that you can use for the center of your piece. So I've got a new yarn here, and instead of doing a magic ring, we're going to start with a chain 4. Now, what I like to do is leave a nice long tail, make my slip knot, and insert my hook. From here, I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I'm going to join with a slip stitch in the first of those 4 chains right down here. Now, when I do my slip stitch, I do like to go under 2 loops of that chain just to make sure it's nice and secure, just like that. So now, instead of working in the loop of the magic ring, I'm going to work in the loop of these chains here. So now I can pick up the pattern just like it's written. I start with a chain 2, which does count as my first double crochet, and now I'm going to put 11 double crochet into this ring here. So there's 1. This isn't my preferred method, so forgive me if it looks a little fiddly. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Just like before, I do want to give this round a count just to make sure that I have it right. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then the starting chain 2 makes 12. So I can insert my hook back into that first loop. And remember, I'm skipping that starting chain 2. So I'm going to find my first double crochet, which is right here. Find the 2 loops at the top of it, insert under those 2 loops, yarn over and pull through the stitch and through the loop that's already on my hook. And now we have our center. You can see that they look mostly identical. And what's nice about this too is since we left such a long tail, you can weave it through the loops of this first round of stitches, pull that tight, and it'll close this circle right on up. But I'm going to jump back into my teal and let's go to round 2. Let's move right into round 2, which starts with a chain 2. And again, that counts as the first double crochet of our round. Now it says to chain 2 in the stitch at the base of the chain. So that's this one right here. It's the same stitch that we joined into. So we're going to put 2 double crochet in this first stitch here. Here's 1 and 2. And we're going to continue on putting 2 double crochets in each stitch until we get around to our last stitch right here. So 2 doubles in that first stitch, 2 in the next, 1 and 2. We'll find our next stitch here, put 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Next stitch is here, 2 double crochet there as well. So we're essentially doubling our stitches. First round had 12. This round will have 24 by the time we're done. So 2 doubles in the next stitch, 1 and 2. 2 doubles in the next stitch, 1 and 2. So we've worked all the way around our circle, and now we're at our last stitch, which is right here. And it says to just place 1 double crochet there. Now you might be like, Tony, oh my gosh, we were placing 2. Why do we only do 1 here? Well, remember that our first chain 2 counts as our first stitch. So at this point, we have 23 stitches already because we've increased in each stitch so far, and we have the one we started with. So that brings us to 23. So now we're just going to place 1 double crochet in this last stitch right here. Just like that. And now let's give it a quick count, make sure we're on the right track. Starting here, and again, counting the V's at the top of the stitches, I find is the easiest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, and our starting chain 2 makes 24. Perfect. At this point, we're going to slip stitch in the double crochet after our chain 2. So our chain 2 is here. We're going to find the double crochet after and join here. And the reason we do that is just to close up this ring in a way that feels a little bit more seamless rather than having a super obvious seam from the very beginning of our project. Let's move on to round 3, which starts again with a chain 2. We're going to put 2 doubles in the stitch at the base of the chain. There's 1 and 2. And we're going to follow that with a double crochet in the next stitch. So this is the stitch we just worked in, double in the following stitch. Just like that. And now we come to a set of parentheses, and it says 2 doubles in the next stitch and double in the following stitch. So 2 double crochet in the next stitch, double in the following stitch. And we're going to do that until we have 2 stitches left in the round. Okay. So 2 doubles in this next stitch, 1 and 2, double in the following stitch, 2 doubles in the next, 1 and 2, double in the following. So we're going to repeat this around until we have 2 stitches left. Okay, so this is our last full repeat. And now we're at our last 2 stitches. So the last 2 stitches is this one right here, and then this one right here. So these are our last 2 stitches here. So now it says for our last 2 stitches, we're going to put 2 doubles in the next stitch. Here's 1 and 2. And we're going to skip the following stitch and finish up with a join. But again, since we're just starting, we want to do a count. Lift your hook up and out, and again, we'll count the V's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's exactly how much we're supposed to have, 36. Wonderful. Now we've just got one more round on our coaster. You're doing great. We're gonna finish up with a join with a slip stitch in the double crochet after the chain 2. So remember, this is the chain 2 here. We're going to join here. Fantastic. So now for our next round, which is round 4, we're gonna put 2 doubles. Well, we're gonna start with a chain 2. There we go. 2 doubles in the stitch at the base of the chain. 1 and 2. And we're going to follow those 2 doubles with a double in each of the next 2 stitches. So we've got 1, 2 stitches here. We're going to place a double crochet in each of those. 1, and there's 2. So we started with a chain 2, 2 doubles in the stitch at the base of the chain, and then a double in each of the next 2 stitches. From here, we've got another set of parentheses. It says 2 doubles in the next stitch, and then double in each of the following 2 stitches. So here we go. 2 doubles in the next. Here's 1 and 2, and double in each of the next 2. So double in this one and double in the next one. And that's the repeat. So an increase and then 2 individual double crochets. An increase, 2 doubles in the same stitch, and then 2 individual doubles, 1 and 2. Increase, double in each of the next 2, 1 and 2. So soothing, so easy. I love this pattern so much. So keep it up, and we're going to do that until we get to the last 3 stitches of our round. Alrighty, so we are getting towards the end here. I just finished my last full repeat, and if I take a look at my work, I have 1, 2, 3 stitches left. Now for these last 3 stitches, I'm going to increase in this next stitch, 1 and 2 here, and then double in the following stitch, and we're going to skip this last stitch. Now I'm going to join in the double after the chain 2. So remember, the chain 2 is here. Join in the double right here. Fantastic. And at the end of that round, you should have 48 stitches. So give that a count if you need to. And I'm going to move on to round 5. Here in round 5, we're going to start with just a chain 1. This does not count as a stitch. We're going to put a single crochet in the stitch at the base of that chain. So in this stitch right here, instead of a double, we're going to put a single, because now we're moving on to our border round of these lovely scalloped edges. So just 1 single crochet goes into that stitch. I'll show you that again. We started with our chain 1. I'm going to dip down into that stitch at the base of the chain, yarn over the hook and pull up the loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through those last 2 loops. So there's our single crochet. From here, we're going to skip 1. So this is the stitch we just worked into. We're going to skip this next stitch here and work into the following stitch. And we're going to put 5 double crochet there. That's going to create our scallop. That's going to create our fan. Okay. So remember, we worked this stitch, skip this stitch, 5 doubles go into the next one. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Wonderful. So now we're just going to repeat that around. Skip the next stitch, single in the following. And that kind of serves as an anchor around our fan stitches. And then we skip the next stitch, 5 double crochet in the following. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Skip the next stitch, single in the following. Skip the next stitch, 5 doubles in the following. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Skip 1, single in the next. Skip 1, 5 double in the following. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to repeat that all the way around. So continue around the outside of your coaster and join me when you get towards the end of your round and we'll finish up together. I continued around my coaster and I'm getting towards the end. So I have a set of my 5 double crochets here. I'm going to skip one, single in the following stitch. And then you might be tempted to say, oh my gosh, Tony, I can't fit another fan in here. You absolutely can. So we're going to skip one and fan in this stitch here because our last stitch is actually not till over here. So we're going to work this stitch here and put 5 doubles there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We'll now skip that last stitch, find our first single crochet of the round, which is right here. So you can notice it because of the little V on the front. And then we've got its 2 loops at the top, and we're going to slip stitch in the top of that stitch. At this point, we can fasten off. Beautiful. Lift that loop up and out, and we have our gorgeous coaster. Now don't get concerned if yours is looking a little wonky. You can see mine is cupping a little bit in the middle, right? So it's not laying completely flat. That is absolutely normal. That is just a tension thing, and that is something that comes with crochet. Don't ever feel like you did it wrong just because it's looking a little wonky. Now I'm going to show you how I like to weave in my ends on this project. First, I'm going to put that first end through my tapestry needle, and then I like to just go down right into the body of this single crochet, right? So I've got the little V of the single crochet here. I like to just go down into that because it makes it mostly invisible. It's pretty hidden. And then I'm going to go around a few of the loops of my fan that is right next to it. So I'm going to go around a few of those loops this way. And then I'm just going to come back the other way. So I'm going to skip the very first loop here and grab the rest of the loops of that fan. There's not a whole lot of rhyme or reason. That is just something that makes me feel like my ends are secure, but you do it whatever way you like to. And I'm going to go through a couple other loops here, just making sure I stay on the back side of my work, just like that, and pull that through. And we can cut off that tail close to the work, but make sure you don't cut all of your gorgeous stitches. And now we're going to weave in this last end. Now this is the end that's coming out of your magic ring. And keep in mind, if you don't weave this end in properly, there is the threat that your work will unravel. So that's why I leave a nice long tail. I'm going to then pull this super duper close to make sure that hole is as closed as possible. And then I'm going to make a little knot. So I'm going to bring my tapestry needle through the loop of one of the adjacent stitches. And then I'm going to bring it through the middle of this loop here that I just created with my tail. And what that does is put a little bitty knot that you can barely see right at the base of my work. That's going to keep the loop closed and help this tail from coming out. And then I like to get this tail as far as possible away from the center of my work. So I'm going to start working up loops, traveling up my project through the rows. So I'm going to work on under a couple loops of this stitch. I'm going to get my tail, and again, this is just how I like to do it. This is what makes me feel secure. I've definitely had magic rings come loose on me before, so I might be a little bit traumatized, but thanks for rolling with me here. And then I'm going to work under a few loops of that fan as well. And since that yarn has traveled so far, if it makes it down and out of here, honey, it was meant to be, okay? So we're going to fasten off that last end. And now we have a gorgeous coaster. It's so stinking cute. I love it. All right. So your coaster is done and you've got the hang of those first 4 rounds. So I want you to repeat those first 4 rounds and then join me back here and we'll start working on our placemat. And we are back. So I've got my coaster all done and I've worked up my placemat using the same first 4 rounds of the coaster. So it is absolutely identical. So now we're going to move on to round 5. What you'll notice in round 5s and throughout the rest of this pattern is there are certain bolded numbers. It's because those numbers are what's going to change from round to round. And it's essentially going to be how many stitches are between your increases and how many stitches you work through to the end of your round here. So you'll really start to get in the rhythm of the pattern once you realize what those bolded numbers mean. So we're going to do several rounds together, not all of them. Listen, I'm the teacher, so I get to cut a little corners. Okay, so you're going to need to do 12 total rounds before your border. I'm probably going to do just a little bit less, but let's do round 5 together. So we're going to start with that chain 2, just like always, counting as our first double crochet, 2 doubles in the stitch at the base of the chain. So nothing of that changes. And now we're going to double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. So remember in the previous round, we double crocheted in each of the next 2 stitches after the increase. This time we're extending that to 3 stitches between. So now here's 1, here's 2, and 3. Another increase. So 2 stitches in the same stitch. So 2 doubles in the same stitch, and then 3 stitches in between. 1, 2, and 1 more makes 3. All right, so that's the repeat. An increase followed by 3 individual double crochets. And we're going to repeat that around until there are 4 stitches left. So increase in this next stitch, and then 1, 2, 3 stitches. Another increase, 1 and 2, and then 3 stitches in between. 1, here's 2. Yarn's getting all tangled up, and 3. So we're going to repeat that around, doing an increase followed by 3 stitches until we have 4 stitches left at the end of the round. Once you get there, meet me and we'll finish up this round together. I've reached the end of my round and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches left. So with these last 4 stitches, I'm going to increase in this next stitch here. So there's 1 and 2. Double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2 here. So 1 and 2, and we skip that last stitch, which is right here. We're going to join. So remember, we're skipping that first chain 2, slip stitch in the following double crochet right there to close the round, and you should have 60 double crochets around the side. Take a moment to count your stitches, make sure you're good to go, and let's move on to round 6. So for round 6, it's very similar to round 5. We're going to start with our chain 2, 2 doubles in the stitch at the base of the chain. So there's 1 and 2. And then double crochet in each of the next 4. So remember on our last round, we double crocheted in each of the next 3 between our increases. This time, we're going to double crochet in each of the next 4. Here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Follow that with an increase, 2 stitches in the same stitch, so 2 doubles in that same stitch there, and then 4 double crochets, so 4 individual double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's the repeat, so an increase, 2 doubles in the same stitch, double in each of the next 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to repeat that around, and this time we're going to work until there are 5 stitches left here at the end. Join me once you get there and we'll finish up this round together. Welcome back. We have reached the end of the round and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches left. And with those last 5 stitches, we're going to increase in our next stitch. So 2 doubles go into that next stitch, and then we're going to double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. 1, here's 2, and 3. And we're going to finish up with a slip stitch in the double crochet after the chain 2. There we go. So we've got a nice circle happening. I am getting a little bit of cupping here in the middle, but again, that is totally normal and something that we'll have to deal with once we get to the finishing part. So what we're going to do from here is we're going to continue in this way, right? So starting with our chain 2, 2 doubles in the base of the chain, and then the pattern is going to tell you how many stitches to do between all of your increases and what to do at the end of your rounds. But I think I suspect that you are starting to get the hang of this pattern. It is very simple as far as the repeats go, and I think you'll continue to have a whole lot of fun with it. So continue on through round 12, and then we'll do round 13 together. My piece is going to be a little bit smaller than yours, but everything will still line up perfectly. So I'll see you very soon, and when we do, we're gonna have a whole lot more work added to our placemats. See you in a bit. And welcome back. So I have completed my placemat as far as I'm going to go for my sample. But again, you should have 12 total rounds here. If you're counting, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You should have 12. So you'll be moving into round 13, and we're going to do the border together now. And it is absolutely the exact same as the coaster. We start with a chain 1, which does not count as a stitch. We're going to single crochet in the stitch at the base of the chain. So right in here, we're going to place our single crochet. And then we're going to skip 1, 5 doubles in the next stitch. So we're skipping this stitch, going to the next one, placing 5 doubles here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Skip 1, single in the next, skip 1, 5 doubles in the next. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Skip 1, single in the next, skip 1, 5 doubles in the following. So we're going to repeat this all the way around, just like we did for our coaster. Meet me at the end. We'll finish up together, and then I'll show you how to get rid of that super annoying cupping that's happening in the middle of our project. We'll get rid of this, okay? Continue all the way around, placing your shells. Skip 1, single, skip 1, shells, skip 1, single, skip 1. Just like that. Join me at the end and we'll finish up together. Just a few more stitches for me to go here. I've got a single in that stitch, and now I skip 1, and I'm going to put my last set of 5 double crochets into this stitch here. There's 3, here's 4, and 5. Once again, I'm going to find that first single of the round, insert my hook under the top 2 loops of that single crochet, yarn over, pull through the stitch and through the loop that's on my hook for a slip stitch. I can now fasten off and pull my loop up and out of my work. At this point, I'm going to turn my project over, grab my tapestry needle, and it's time to weave in some ends. We're doing the ends just like we did before. So with this end at the top, and again, you can do this however you like, but this is just how I like to do it. I'm going to find that single crochet that I joined in, which is right here. I'm going to insert into the body of that stitch and pull through for a nice seamless look. And you can see it kind of cinched down that last fan. So there's a clear distinction between those 2 groups of stitches. Now I'm just going on the back of my work. I found a few loops and working my way over to the base of this set of 5 double crochets here, and just pushing my tapestry needle through. Wonderful. And now I'm going to go through the base of a few stitches down this way. So one of the things that I like to do when I'm weaving in my ends is ultimately get the end a little bit away from where it came from. It makes it just a little less likely that it's going to work its way out. So you don't have to do this the same way every time. You just do it until you feel that that end is secure. Then we clip off the excess. And now let's grab the end in the middle. Remember, this is attached to our magic ring, so we have to be very diligent in making sure we weave this in properly. So first things first, I'm going to pull this tail super tight, just like that, and make a little knot. So I'm going to grab one of the loops from an adjacent stitch, and then I'm going to go up through this space here and pull down. So I've got a nice little knot there at the base. At this point, I can weave in this end. And again, just like before, I'm going to let my tail travel up the project a little bit, just to get it far away from that magic ring and not have to worry about that coming out ever, ever, ever. I'm gonna loop one more time this way. And again, cut off the excess. So if we take a look at our work, we now have a coaster and a placemat. But you can see that I've got a little bit of rippling here. So this one is blocked and you can see it's laying nice and flat. It's got a nice bit of flexibility to it as well, whereas this is still quite stiff. So the next step is going to be to steam block these. And what the steam is going to do is it's going to soften up all of the fibers. It's going to make our stitches lay nice and flat and even, and it's also going to get rid of all of the little curling that we've got going on here and any kind of cupping that you might have going on still in the middle of your project. So join me at my ironing board. And here we are at my ironing board, and I've got my garment steamer heating up. I had a different garment steamer for years and years, lost it and got this new one. This one is from Conair. If you're interested in this or any of the items that I mentioned in today's tutorial, you can check down in the description and pick up one for yourself. So I have mine on, it is heated and ready to go. And what I'm going to do is actually turn my pieces face down. And this does a couple things. It's going to help it's going to help push the tension out of these stitches, and it's also going to make sure we don't damage or stain anything. I haven't had any issues with my steamer before, but God forbid this is the one time that it wants to spit out some weird brown water. I would rather that be an issue for the back of my project than the front of my project. Okay, so now I'm just going to activate the steam and gently take it around the coaster. So my steam is now coming out. And I'm just going around the coaster. And you can see already that those double crochet groups are relaxing out a bit. All my stitches in the middle are flattening and evening themselves out. Oh, I love this part because it really does honor all the hard work that you put into your piece. Beautiful. So I've got that nice and damp to the touch, and I'm going to leave that right here. I'm going to do the same with my coaster. Again, focusing on those chain 5 group or those 5 double crochet groups, and then flattening out the stitches in the middle. Now, one of the most imperative parts of the steaming process is you don't want to disturb this while it's wet. You want to let it completely dry, and then we can pick it up and admire all of our good work. So I'm just going to turn the steam off. Turn my steamer off completely, and we're gonna let this dry. I'm gonna go make some lunch. We'll come back and take a look and see how things turned out. And here we go, friends. Our pieces are completely dry, and would you look at that? Like, the drape on this is so delicious now. And you can see that all of our groups are laying down nice and flat. Same with our coaster. Oh, I am obsessed and so glad to add this to my collection of Sunrise table settings. This has been super duper fun to teach, and I hope you had an equally great time making these. Thank you so much for joining me for this tutorial. Make sure you share your project over on Ravelry as well as on Instagram and tag at TLYC. If you have any questions, make sure you drop them down in the comments. Otherwise, I will see you in the next tutorial. Thanks, y'all. Bye.